Hey everybody, Risers here, and today we're going to be discussing Jujutsu Kaisen Manga chapter 163. Pretty short and simple chapter this week, but some good stuff to talk about, so let's get right into it. We kick off this week's chapter with a nice little flashback, getting some backstory on both Yuji and Rin Amai. So Amai is looking on. He's a bystander to a bullying situation here. One of his classmates is being picked on by three others. Now, he's just sitting back trying to make motions to the kid being bullied. Like, oh, like, gotta pretend like you're laughing. Like, play it off cool and you'll be fine. Now, this is not what you should do. If you're ever in this situation, you should not be a bystander. If someone's being bullied, you should step in and help them because no one deserves that. However, Yuji does end up coming in, but before that, Amai, he has this little inner monologue just giving us a little more insight into how his mind works and why he didn't get involved. His idea here is that, well, if I get involved, the other guys will just start picking on me. I don't want to deal with that, so I'm just gonna, be passive, don't ruffle any feathers, maybe some good things will happen. But then here comes Yuji, and he's like, no way, you're not picking on anybody, I'm not letting you do that. And it's 3v1, what's gonna happen? Is Yuji gonna lose? Hell no, he's not gonna lose. Three guys, 1, 2, 3 punches, all taken out. It's 2 punches and a kick, but the point here is that in a 1v3, Yuji needed 3 attacks to take out 3 guys. I really liked seeing this because we don't know too much about pre-Jujutsu High Yuji. We basically know 2 things, and one of those things we are really seeing for the first time in writing this chapter, which is he was a monster in high school revealed for his strength. Well, high school and middle school. And then 2, Kenjaku and the relationship there. Now, I do want to make a video going into detail about how Kenjaku is Yuji's parent. I don't know the gender of Kenjaku. So Yuji is the son of Kenjaku. I want to make a video on it. I think it's a super interesting topic. So many connections to explore there, but I've actually got a different JJK project I'm working on right now. So once that one gets wrapped up, I'll start doing work on that video. Now, we cut away from Yuji after he finishes beating everyone up. He just kind of glares at Amai, but they don't really have any interactions. So Megumi now, the girl from last chapter with the scorpion hair, Remi, she's taking a different route than Megumi thought to get to Shinjuku. Now, Megumi kind of, he's thrown off by this. He's like, wait, why are we going this way? We're going to run into a bunch of people. That's like a populated area. Let's just go straight there. She's like, no, trust me. Firstly, this is a very easy and simple route. We're going to be fine. 2, my apartment's right here. Let me go take a shower. Like, let's sit down and relax. We'll be okay. And Megumi's like, alright, but he definitely noticed some of these red flags, but I think he just doesn't care because he doesn't see Remi as a threat. He's like, alright, if this bitch tries to pull something on me, I'll just beat her up. Like, she's not strong enough to handle me, so that's why he just doesn't care. He's just like, alright, I'll go along with it. You want to go take a shower? Fine. Like, you're already annoying me. I don't need you to be complaining about not getting your shower. So we cut back, and we get to see Yuji and Amai have made it to Higuruma's base. He's set up in a local theater right now, and before Yuji goes in, Amai's kind of like, hey, Higuruma once beat Haba up pretty badly, and Yuji's like, oh, like, helicopter head? Like, I beat his ass too, like, shouldn't be a problem then, I should be able to handle myself. And Amai's clearly very nervous here, but, I mean, we're talking about Yuji, he's got Sukuna, and I'm like, ain't no problem. Higuruma ain't shit, but towards the end of this chapter, Higuruma does look pretty studly, so we'll talk about that when we get there. Now, we finally get to find out the name of the guy from last chapter with the cool tattoo that I was talking about last week. His name is Reggie, except they took what was, in my opinion, a very cool looking character, and they made him look like shit. He's now wearing all those receipts we saw, like, pinned up in last week's chapter, and he's wearing them like a ghillie suit. Like, this just, he looked so cool. Like, why give him this? But it's probably got to do something with his cursed abilities. Now, what are they going to be? I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do with some receipts on a clothespin, but we'll find out. Now, he, alongside Remi, start taunting Megumi. Like, you got fooled. And she's Remi's sitting there like, don't glare at me, Megumi. I'm not afraid of you. And he's just like, shut up, both of you. I don't have time to deal with this shit. Alright, I'm focused on my sister right now. Can y'all just be quiet? Like, I'll beat you up. That's fine. You want to fight? I'm going to beat you. I'm going to get all the information you got for me. And then I'm going to dip. Reggie might have some stuff, but I don't know. Remi's scorpion hair, maybe she's got like poison abilities. That would be pretty cool. Maybe that's what her curse technique is. And then Reggie, I mean, leave some comments down below. What do you think he's going to do with these receipts? I keep calling them receipts because the last chapter, that's what it looked like, but they're really just like pieces of paper with writing on them. So maybe it's a situation where like he can write stuff on it and then manifest whatever's written on it. I don't know, but let me know some thoughts on that. What do you think some of Reggie's abilities could be? Look how they massacred our boy right here, right? Like, he was looking so cool. He looked like a martial artist, like, looked like kind of a beast last chapter, and now he's wearing these little pieces of paper, and he just looks like a nerd. So Yuji finally makes it to Higuruma, and turns out Higuruma is kind of in a weird state of mind these days. He's sitting on the stage of this theater in his full suit, sitting in a bathtub. And if y'all have seen Squid Games, this immediately reminded me of Song-woo when he was sitting in his suit in the bathtub, just like, you gotta be pretty down bad to go lay in a bathtub in your suit. I only own one. If I owned two, and maybe I had like a throwaway one or something, I'll do it. Maybe one day, if I have enough money to afford a bunch of suits, I'll try it out, because, I mean, according to Higuruma here, it actually feels pretty nice. So I'm like, alright, you know what? If I ever have the means to, fuck it. I'll try it sometime. Never say never. Why not? And Yuji's just like, I mean, I guess back in school, I liked some of those swimming classes where we wore clothes. I guess I get what you mean here. And we come to find out why he's in his suit in a bathtub, because apparently he went off the rail in his 30s. So these days, he doesn't really care about things, and he's just kind of doing all those things that he never did because he thought he shouldn't do them. And this whole time when he's talking to Yuji even is like, yeah, there's something weird about this guy. He's very frivolous, very nonchalant. He doesn't take anything too seriously. He's like, whoa, you want to talk? 5k yen an hour, baby, or on the half hour, so 10k yen an hour. And it's like, buddy, like, why are you joking around with this shit? Like, you know, we're in a game where people are being forced to kill each other, and you're sitting here joking about yen. Like, he's kind of being weird, but Yuji thinks he's got a chance to bring him to their side, because he's like, alright, he's a modern day sorcerer who's just recently had his curse technique awakened, so like, maybe he'll make a deal with me. This'll be good. And he's like, alright, you know what? I'll be blunt with you, Higuruma. We want to stop the culling game, or at least get rid of the forced killing aspect. Can we use your 100 points to use it? And Higuruma kind of gets up. He sits up. You know, he was laying back. He starts getting up, and he's like, all right, you know what? I respect your bluntness, so I'll give you the same respect. No, you're not going to use it. And Yuji's like, that's a joke, right? Like, you're just kind of messing around with me here, like you've been doing. And he's like, nope, not a joke. You see, I'm a lawyer, and sometimes the law is powerless. However, the culling game seems to have power. I was bestowed power, which seems to mean that all those other rules are very much true. And he's specifically interested in rules 2 and 8, which have to do with curse technique removal, which, as we know, the running theory on that is that if your curse technique is removed, you would die, since it correlates to certain parts of the brain and whatnot. Now, Yuji's like, alright, well, we need to stop the culling game. Like, people in this country are going to die. Maybe everyone will die if we don't put an end to this. And Higuruma brings up a very interesting point. He's like, no, I don't think everyone's going to die. The culling game here seems to celebrate permanence. And Yuji kind of gets shook here. He's like, you know what? I was thinking the same thing too. Like, I don't understand that part of this whole thing. And Yuji, at this point, is like, alright, you know what? If you're not going to let me use them, I'll do it by force. Now, I want to talk a little bit about Higuruma here. I went back, and if you haven't read this chapter, or if you forget, go back to chapter 159. That's the chapter where we get to see Higuruma doing his lawyer stuff, and you get to see into his mindset. And specifically in that chapter, he talks about how the legal system is broken, innocent people get thrown in jail, sometimes life sentences, sometimes death sentences. while the people who actually committed these crimes get to run free, because in the legal system there are people that are condemned from the start, and no matter how good of a lawyer you are, no matter how much you try to change things, you can't. And he really likes the Culling game in this regard, because there's strict rules that are, as far as he can tell, like, he obviously doesn't understand, you know, Kenjaku and like all the different things that we know as the reader, but he's like, alright, some power gave me a curse technique, which means that same power, whatever it is gonna enforce these rules, which means the legal system that he's been a part of as a lawyer, the one that drove him mad, that made him throw away his 30s, all of that is now being operated by this power. And to him, that's very ideal, because that fixes what he wanted fixed. He talks about how when he was a kid, whenever something wasn't right, whenever there was something that he perceived to be flawed, he felt a strong urge to change it. So for Higuruma, he sees the Culling Games as an opportunity to change the legal system. He sees it as a fix and a solution to that, which, I mean, to some extent, if you really think about it, and if you were to somehow keep the Culling Games going and expand the whole area, just like keep it there, change enough rules to where the forced killing is negated, and add rules to where basically it just becomes the legal system, which that's what I believe Higuruma is after, right? His idea is, I'm gonna gain points, and I'm gonna use the Culling Games to perfect the legal system like that. Again, that's why he specifically mentions 2 and 8, the rules that have to do with negation, killing, you know, removal of the curse technique. He wants to know exactly how those things work. That way he can turn the new world, aka the Culling Games, into a legal paradise of some sort where he can fix what he saw was broken. So that's pretty interesting to see that side of Higuruma, and considering he devoted so much of his life to that practice of law, he definitely has steeled his resolve in this case, and we know that he collected 100 points, which means he's definitely not a pushover. I've been sleeping on Reggie and Remi. I don't think either of them are going to be too important. I don't think either of them are going to actually put up a fight against Megumi, but considering the resolve behind Higuruma and the fact that he was able to amass 100 points and all of that, including the fact that he's kind of nonchalant and chilling, I think he's definitely going to be a pretty powerful sorcerer. Excited to see more of his curse technique. Really excited for where Jujutsu Kaisen is heading right now, guys. Alright, that's going to do it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like the video if you did. Leave some comments down below talking about today's chapter. And make sure to subscribe for more anime and manga content. And I'll see you guys in the next one.